told as a child, stay out of grown folks' conversations.
Yes.
Definitely. Communication is a simple way of expressing yourself. Someone may identify you as a whiner,
Rude.
or explosive, and sometimes, like me, called sassy.
Sassy fever.
So we've come to you to talk about how you can be an effective communicator around your family, friends, even your job. So let's talk about how to express yourself today.
But welcome back, guys, to Blue Chair Combos.
I'm your host, Sophia.
And I'm your co-host, Kelly.
Yes.
Please follow us on YouTube, on our station, Blue Chair Combos. Like us and ring that bell, guys. Also, feel free to comment and ask any questions because we would love to interact with you.
Yes.
Follow us on our Facebook page, also titled Blue Chair Combos.
And let's not forget Instagram so you can follow us there too. And that is Blue, BLU_chairs combos. Don't please subscribe, like, and share as always. And today we're going to talk about expressing yourself. So, Kelly, how do you express yourself?
Oh my goodness, that is a good question. I think that I express myself very well. I consider myself a very expressive person and that I'm always in touch with my feelings. But to be completely honest with you, I sometimes get the adjective that I can be rude.
Rude, Kelly.
Rude.
Well, hey, I'm in there with you. I'm sassy. Don't worry.
Sassy fever.
Sassy, as I don't know what it's called, but I'm sassy, you know. But today's episode is going to talk about how we communicate. And so we want to bring some things that can impact you in some way in your life, that there's good communication. So Kelly, so what does it look like on the side where we can talk to them about communication?
Well, what we want you guys to get from this is that building upon the episode that we had before, our first one about keeping it real with yourself, being able to express yourself and communicate effectively with people is also keeping it real with you. Keeping it real with you means that you are very in touch with who you are and what you feel, and you don't mind telling people that.
Exactly. So communicating to me is being open, honest, and truthful about it. And some people don't know how to do that. So how in your family life could you show us what it looks like?
Well, for me, I think I communicate a lot like my father. I got my communication skills from him. He taught me to be very confident when I speak and to speak with conviction in my voice. Bass in my voice, basically, is what it is. That's just like, this chair is blue. We all know that it is. If I thought this chair was red, I could look you straight in your eyes and say, this chair is red to me. And I could give you 1,000 reasons why it is. I say it with all the confidence in the world to make you believe that it is.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow, Kelly. Wow.
Absolutely. But I think it has boded well for me in certain areas of my life. I'm very confident when I speak in my career. I'm a therapist. I'm very confident when I talk with people. I do public speaking. I'm very confident when I do that. But sometimes it hasn't boded very well for me. I'll just be completely honest.
Why is that?
Well, sometimes, like I said before, I've been looked at to be a rude person. But for me, it's not being rude. It's just being direct, being very transparent, very upfront, and saying what I mean and mean what I say.
All right. Well, some people can't be transparent. Some people hide behind their fears of speaking because of different things that can come up to either, like on their job, could be where they can get fired if they open up and be honest about certain things. So right now, like for me, I sometimes shy away from being honest because growing up, no was a word that was constantly used. No.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, like talking about that means it made me almost go get what I want, and I always still do it. Go get it. And I hate the word no. I can't stand the word no, but
you think that's where the sassy comes from. Because it might not be that you're sassy. It might be because what people don't realize is that how we were reared, meaning the people that raised us, the people who nurtured us, they teach us what we know about the world. Mm-hmm. They teach us what we know about communication. Yeah. So when you hear that children should be seen and not heard, when you hear that you ain't got no feelings so you get out of my house,
right,
that makes a child, that creates a child who does not want to advocate for themselves, a child who doesn't speak up, a child who is not heard, who's seen and not heard.
Right.
So what happens is that becomes an adult who has poor communication skills, whether it's in an intimate relationship, on the job, with their friends or whatever have you. They don't advocate for themselves. They don't speak up. And so, with that being said, with you hearing no all the time, do you think it's now that you have gone out into the world and had this different experience? Now, when you hear no, you're not gonna tell me no, because now I don't have to take the no.
In some aspects, I like if I want to try to change something or give my feedback on something, I feel that the no is gonna be there, and I don't want to confront the situation about it because I'm expecting a no.
Okay.
So how do I change that? I don't know until I step out of fear of communicating to them and understand my voice needs to be heard as well. Express it in a way that's mannerable and professional if I have a problem.
Okay, I guess I could see that. The correlation between that, because you're already preconceiving that there's going to be a no there, but actuality it may not be.
Right.
Okay, I can see that. Well, how does that work for you in your intimate relationships?
It's probably the same way. Okay. You know, like I think I'm more bolder a little bit. Like now that I know myself a little bit when it comes to my relationships or dating right now, I know what I don't like. You know, like it's kind of hard. So a job, I guess you can fear yourself of getting fired if you say something because they have ultimate power a little bit.
Sure.
They're superior to you, so you're inferior to them. And with my relationship, I feel like I have a little bit more control because if you're gonna encounter me and we're gonna engage each other, then I got a little bit more say. And sometimes we change across the board most of the time. Everything that we communicate is not the same with our family, friends, or who we're talking to, especially work or like the church. So, you know, that may be another way of talking to them that there's you have different ways that you communicate across the board. It's not always going to be the same. You're going to try to change. You're going to change or in a way that it's going to be appeasing to certain people. When you talk to your family, of course, you're going to probably talk to them any kind of way. Sometimes. Depends on how much respect that you have in that family.
I completely agree that how we communicate with people is adjusted. I don't like to say change because change to me is not being authentic and keeping it real with you and true to who you are. But I definitely think it's going to adjust depending upon who you're speaking to. And it should in actuality. And I think in thinking about that and the way that it goes, what I talked about before about being perceived as being rude at work, what has happened is that I'm out in a leadership position that has happened. So what I learned to do is kind of read the room. I learned to kind of adjust what I say. I talk loud anyway because I'm from the country. But I learned to, if I need to soften my tone and soften up my words a little bit, I can do that. I can speak a little lower, and make it a compliment sandwich. I start with something really nice, say the part that Kelly really needs and wants to say, and then end with something really nice. And even in intimate relationships, and I can speak for me and my relationship now, sometimes when I say things that I say, here again, it's with confidence and conviction, that it can appear that I'm being argumentative. I'm arguing with him, even though it might be that I'm just disagreeing. You can disagree and not be disagreeable, if that makes sense. And it might seem that I'm not letting him be the man, and that type of thing, or I got an attitude, or I'm angry about it, and necessarily that's not really what it is. It's just I'm being expressive. I have a feeling about this. I've identified it. I know what it is, and I'm expressing it to you. You might not agree with what I'm saying, and I might not agree with you, but this is how I feel about it, and I'm able to say that to you.
And then sometimes they make you feel like you're walking on eggshells too, because I've been in situations where if I say something or my personality doesn't agree with them, like they say, well, you telling me what to do all the time. I'm like, I'm not. Where did that come from? I'm just talking to you in a normal way that I'm usually am. But like you said, we have to adjust ourselves to accommodate certain people in our circle or lifestyle that can make them feel comfortable to talk to.
Right.
So
Yeah, because I'm a big believer in you have to put people in a place where they can hear you. And that's what I mean by adjusting that, in a place where they can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're coming off at a person and we're talking loudly and it's aggressive, and they're going to shut down and they're not going to hear us.
Right.
They're not going to listen to understand. And that's the hope that we're having. So you definitely have to put people in that place. Walk on eggshells, I don't do.
Right.
That's just not who I am. In my house, that's not who I am at work. That's just not who I am. And I don't allow myself to go there.
Right. And some people may not know how to not. So me, I broke up with them. I'm not going to allow you to intimidate me, make me inferior to you when I'm just, if you don't understand something or you feel intimidated by or threatened, that's the word, threatened by how I communicate with you, then we don't need to be together because we're not already on the like-minded page or similar to each other. Right. It's some things that you're not organic about yourself. I feel that's how I feel. Like it's something you're insecure about. I feel those type of people are insecure about something, but I could be wrong. But if I
definitely could see that, because I think sometimes for me, in my own personal experience, it has been sometimes where I felt like what I said was perceived to be rude or demeaning, when in actuality, when I play it back in my head, it wasn't that. That was that person's perception and not my intention, but it wasn't that way. It was the particular topic that we were talking about. You were not confident in it yourself.
Right.
So you were projecting those feelings onto me to make me feel like that my communication was ineffective or it was poor.
Right.
But in actuality, it was your confidence level that was not there.
And that sometimes leads to miscommunication.
Absolutely.
Miscommunicating where you are fitting the pieces in that don't even supposed to be fitting there. And how I see miscommunication is where someone's talking to you. You're having a dialogue. You're talking and you over here thinking about what they're saying, but you're not comprehending the whole conversation. So then you take those pieces of what you think that person said and you put it in. Like sometimes I'm in certain conversations and, oh, I thought you were meaning this. Well, how did you gather that when that's not exactly what I said? I would actually hopefully tell you what I was meaning, but not to input your own part there. That doesn't help the conversation, because now we're on another conversation trying to recreate the conversation that I just talked about because you wasn't listening to me.
Well, to me, that's inferring. And I hate that word. I hate for people to infer things that I say. Because for me, here again, I'm very expressive and I keep it real with me.
Right.
So I say what I mean and I mean what I say. Mm-hmm. You don't have to infer anything from my conversation with you because I said exactly what it is that I meant. So if you inferred that, don't do that, because that's not what I said. Right. Take it at face value. This is exactly what I said. Okay. And so I feel like that's where a lot of miscommunication comes from. People are inferring. Perception you really can't help, because people's perceptions are their reality. And if they don't understand and they're listening to understand, then they should ask questions.
Right.
You know, because it's a second piece of it. Mm-hmm. Right. They should ask questions. But don't infer what I said at all, because I said exactly what I meant to say.
Right. And something that all trickles down from your family or friends or your work environment, and everybody can take. You know how you go around the classroom? You remember that story? Like you start here, you tell someone there,
and by the time it got to the end, it was
my God, what in the world?
It had nothing to do with what I started out with.
You like, where'd you get that communication? How did you? Where those pieces come from?
Yeah.
So that means communication is poor and there's a breakdown somewhere.
Absolutely.
In the chain.
Absolutely.
So when I think about communication, it has to be open dialogue, truthful, and don't let yourself be fearful of speaking your truth. That's keeping it real with yourself.
Right.
Speak your truth in a way that is not imposing on someone else's feelings, that is abrupt or explosive or whining or manipulative, that makes them insecure about when they have a conversation with you. Yeah. Sometimes I feel that when you're talking to some people, I'm gonna be honest, good Kelly right now. Sometimes when I talk to Kelly, I feel like, I'm like, do I got that knowledge? And she's like, you got it, but she's a bold person. I love it. It's not that it's a negative thing, but it's just like, Sophia, you need to pick up your game a little bit. And it's not competitive. It's not comparison. Absolutely. It's just, Sophia, and sometimes I had a best friend that she spoke so soundly, and I had a friend who she has this soft-spoken voice, like you mentioned, like you can adjust, but her voice was always like that, and I loved it because it it was, she could be sarcastic to somebody and no one ever knew it because
there was no inflection.
Exactly. And it was like, wow. And you know, me, I'm on the other side. I'm rough edged. So I'm just gonna go like say I'm rough and I'm gonna say it and I don't care. I care, but it's like after you done say what you said, it's like why I'm not gonna express myself no further than this because I said what I said. Sometimes I'm polar opposite. Sometimes I don't like confrontation. It depends on the situation that I'm in too. So,
well, let me interject here because this is what I want people to understand as well. Not all confrontation is bad. Confrontation, that word has a bad rap. It has a negative connotation to it. Some things need to be confronted. Mm-hmm. Not all confrontation has to be negative and it has to be bad. And to me, being able to confront things is it's good communication that leads to excellent communication skills because you can't just let things just pass you by. Mm-hmm. You can't just let things happen and you want to say something and you don't say something.
Right,
that's
exactly.
being passive.
That's being passive. Yeah.
And that's a poor communication.
Right.
And to me, all the things that you just described is being an assertive communicator, a person who's able to advocate for themselves and express their feelings without infringing on the rights of others, without making others feel less than, but also being very clear and getting their point across. That's being assertive. And that's the type of person that I strive to be. And I know sometimes the way I speak can be very intimidating, but what you're picking up from me too is this confidence that I said I was taught to have, whether I really know what I'm talking about or not. You know what I mean? And so I'm okay with that. Right. You know, I'm okay with that. And like I said, sometimes I feel like people get intimidated by it and I know how to back it up. And I know sometimes it makes like in a leadership position, it can be demeaning to other people, but I've learned over the years how to back that up.
Right.
You know what I mean? How to pull back and be like, okay, they're not receiving this from me.
Right.
Let me change up my approach with that.
Right.
You know?
So, see, just communication sometimes, like, she probably didn't know that, but I love it. It's like, dang, I wish and I just told you that earlier today. I really, like, dang. But like you should never, it's not like I say comparison. It's just identifying something that's great in somebody that shows you how to be somewhat, this is a better technique that I could use.
And I appreciate you sharing that because a lot of times as women of color, I don't feel like we uplift each other in that way. You know what I mean? That's something that you could have kept to yourself and never said to me. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you sharing that and being comfortable in sharing that because we don't uplift each other enough.
No.
You know what I mean? And when you made that comment to me earlier today, I said to you, you got it.
I know.
I was like, these are things that you know and things that you understand. And that was my way of uplifting you. We just expressed it in a different way.
Right.
You know?
Right. But see, this is communication. Sometimes we have to talk to people to get an idea for someone. Communication is across the board in all relationships. This whole Blue Chair Combos is about building a relationship, and how to build it is through networking. And if you can't network with someone, build that gift they have from them and try to influence it on you a little bit. You're never going to change. Well, adjust a little. Adjust yourself.
Absolutely.
Adjust yourself, as Kelly said.
That's just my for this in this context, for this conversation.
Yes.
I like adjust because I feel like change is not being authentic to me.
Right.
You know.
But it's adjusting yourself to identify how good you can be, and I feel that is a great thing. Like, you know, I think we have a great relationship on this show.
Absolutely.
Like, it balance. She balances me out. I feel that she balances.
We balance each other out.
Right. Yep. So it's just identifying good things about our relationship, and this is the first relationship showing you what a relationship looks like. Now, you might not see that backside, but what you see right now is what you are getting. Right. Like, authentically us.
This is how we always are.
So, with some things, to help you guys understand what it looks like, communication is being open and honest. First of all, truthful to yourself. Keep it real all the time, as Kelly has always said. You know, you have to identify what your problem is, because sometimes we become those whiners, those rude people, those sassy people, and sometimes explosive people. And identifying that problem within yourself to help you get better at communicating, whether it's through your relationships, any relationship, you know, family, friends, and your coworkers.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off of that before we end on today, I definitely agree with everything that you said. And the bottom line for me is just being organic, being who you are, being in touch with your feelings, being in touch with your emotions, keeping it real with you, and being able to express that to other people. And I think that will help to elevate you in your life, whether it's in your intimate relationships, friendships, or on the job. Just be organic and express who you are in a way that people can hear.
Right, exactly. And so, thank you all for watching again tonight. Well, don't forget what we got to do, Kelly. What they have to do. What steps?
Go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, Blue Chair Combos. Ring the bell. Follow us on Facebook. Like our page, Blue Chair Combos.
And Instagram. Don't forget to follow us. Blue BLU_chair combos. Hope to see you soon, and hopefully we actually have you send someone else our way.
See you next week.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye bye.